everyone. In this video, I'll be going over the basics for Sanctum 2. First off, for those of you who don't know about Sanctum 2, it's essentially a mix between a tower defense game and mostly a first-person shooter. The objective of the game is fairly simple. You have what's called a core. In the game, you have to protect the core against alien enemies known as looms. But there's a catch. There are a set number of waves in each level varying in different enemy types and difficulty. Fortunately, for you to have a fighting chance, you have towers you can build to force the aliens through guided paths, making the core harder to reach, and not only that, you also have various stationary turrets to build to defend against the waves of various enemies as well. Now that I've given you a brief summary of the game, let me begin by explaining the heads-up display basics. Starting at the top right of the screen, we have our players list. The game is single player or co-op for up to 4 players. Any players in this game will show up in this list displaying their chosen character, level, and connection speed to the game. It also displays a ready status for each player wanting to start an enemy wave. On the bottom middle of the screen, before launching the enemy waves, you have a small menu in regards to tower building. Starting at the top middle of the small menu is the number of towers you have available to build and place on the map. To the top right of the small menu is the currently built turrets to the max turrets ratio. What that means is the total amount of turrets you're allowed to build on any given map is 15 max. The next highlighted portion is the list of turrets and towers for building. The icon for just building towers is always on the left side. The rest of the options in this list is the type of turrets that can be built to hinder enemy progression. Now, if we look at the top left of the small menu, we have the currency icon. Currency is only used to build or upgrade turrets. If you look at the top middle of your screen, you'll see the wave indicator. This lets you know the current wave you're on, and if you're playing campaign, the total amount of waves to be played on that level. Lastly, if you look at the top left of your screen, we see the levels minimap. By pressing the tab key, I'm going to go through and explain briefly what each icon represents on the map. The red triangle represents the enemy's starting point. The orange dots coming from the triangle represents the path the enemies are going to follow to reach the core. The core is the white and blue outlined orb. The dark blue grid is where you can build towers. The light blue squares are where towers are currently built. The green blocks are where towers with turrets are constructed. Also, the green blocks will have abbreviated lettering indicating the type of turret built. For example, LI stands for Lightning Turret. Lastly, the gray shaded areas are where turrets cannot be built for one reason or another, and depending on the reason, enemies may be able to pass through these areas. After each wave, you will normally get a supply drop of currency and towers near the core. Once you collect both, you can continue building your towers and upgrading or placing turrets where you see fit. Also, in case you mess up or need to rebuild for whatever reason, you can recycle turrets and towers by pressing and holding the right mouse button. Recycling turrets in the standard game gives you the full amount of currency back, until you reach certain feats of strength, but this will be discussed in another video. Once you're satisfied with what you have constructed, hit the ready button, which default is the enter key, and you're underway to destroying the baddies. When you hit the ready button, you will notice the tower building menu will disappear and a bar will come up. This bar indicates your max amount of ammo and the current amount left for that weapon. Fortunately, you do have an infinite amount of ammo, but the reload time takes a bit. As you progress through the game, you eventually will get to choose a secondary weapon and cycle between them by pressing the E key. That's all I have for the basics for Sanctum 2. Hope you all enjoyed this video, and I'll see you all next time.